Imagine you're a lighthouse keeper and you just come in off of a really nasty day and you're freezing and you walk in and really what you want is something that's going to warm you up. And I have just a thing that they probably ate, and it's baked beans. It's Boston baked beans. What we're going to do, let me show you what we have here as far as ingredients are concerned. We have bacon, ketchup, molasses, caraway seeds. We have some celery, some onions, some Dijon mustard. Some of these ingredients, obviously, the lighthouse keeper wouldn't have, but what they would have would be beans and also molasses, because what Boston was very big on beans, because it's called Bean Towns, and also big on molasses because of the trade between the West Indies and Boston. They bring the molasses to Boston. Boston would make rum and send it back. So let's get this started real quick. I have a pan heating up here. What we're gonna start first is by put a little oil in the pan, and we're gonna do something. We're gonna render out our bacon, and really all that means is just, you know, cook some of the fat out of it, and that's the flavor that we're gonna get. I like to reserve a few little pieces of bacon just for garnish when after I'm baking it. So let's move on. Let's move that around a little bit. Just cover that, kind of keep the noise down a little bit. Let's just talk a little bit more about baked beans and the history of it. With the Puritans, what they would do is on Saturday, the wife would make baked beans. They'd have the beans, they'd cook it in the fire, they'd have the molasses, and it'd cook all day. And then that night, they'd have the traditional New England meal of baked beans and brown bread. And then also, that would be a carryover meal to the next evening, where they would be the Sabbath, where they would not work or do anything else, and they'd have dinner would already be pre-made. So that's where it really, really comes in. Now the bacon's we're gonna rendering that out. That's coming along just fine. Okay, now we're gonna start by sauteing the onions and the celery. I'm just gonna throw that in, and then I want to talk briefly again about back to the beans. I want to show you these beans right here have been soaked overnight. And you can kind of get an idea. These are dried and these have been soaked. And actually what it does is actually reduces the cooking time. They swell up. You can actually, I've left beans at the restaurant, I've left them in for 2 days, and they really work well doing it that way. So we're going to take one look at our stuff cooking here. We're going to mix that around a little bit. And we're going to let this is going to need about a good, I'd say a good 5 to 10 minutes of cooking. So we'll check back with that. Let's take a look at our onions and celery and bacon. Yep, that's looking good. So what we want to do, we want to pour our beans in. Beans are in. And we want to turn around and grab a couple. Nowadays they have packaged chicken stock, and they're really good. Now this is actually going to be 6 cups of stock. And then we're going to get this going. Then we add all of our flavor. Got to get our ketchup in there. Turn this heat up all the way. Get that going. Pour our ketchup. Ketchup is such a versatile thing. I like it for making baked beans, obviously, but I also really like it for, barbecue sauce. Obviously, putting them on hot dogs and all that. And then we add our Dijon mustard. And then I like to add caraway seed to it, because it just gives it it's that flavor that somebody will go, wow, what's that? So we just bring that around, stir that around. Now, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to bring that up to a boil. And the reason for that is if you don't have to, you could just put this in a casserole dish and put it right in the oven. But then you have to wait for it to come up to a boil in the oven, which is going to actually increase your time, by like a half an hour, 45 minutes. If you spend 10 minutes heating it up on the stove, you'll save yourself 40 minutes in the long run. So we're going to assume that thing is just cooking away, coming up to a boil. I'll bring the casserole dish over. That's what it's going to go in. This is a 3-quart casserole dish. It will all go in there. And now, then when it's ready, what we'll do is we go over here we take out the one that I actually cooked a little earlier today, obviously. And these are baked beans. These are a beautiful thing. One of my all-time favorite of baked beans. Now, in New England, they would have 2 slices of, or 1 slice of, this is the brown bread. It actually comes in you can buy it in a can. And let me get a nice serving spoon and a towel, because this is really hot. And what they do is they just take some of the beans and they just put it on the plate. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were a lighthouse keeper, let me wipe that off, make that a little bit more attractive. If I were a lighthouse keeper and I came in after a really long day being out and I saw this steaming on a plate in front of me, I'd be grateful to be home and I'd say, let's eat well.